What is the deal, beautiful people? My name is Ramon. This is Lifestyles Defined, where we talk tech all day, every day. And today's topic is Apple replacing Intel. Whoa, what does this mean? So according to Bloomberg, Apple is looking to replace Intel in some of its Macs by 2020, which is not too far off. This can't honestly come as a surprise. The last processor, I believe it's the A10. I lost, or 11, I don't know, I lost count at this. I'm not a big Mac fan, you guys should know that. But the last processor that was released in the iPhone 8s and the iPhone 10, and I think the iPad Pros, was running circles around everything else on the market. And not only that, I'm not even talking just like mobile stuff, but they were getting desktop class performance and throwing up benchmarks as if it was a desktop. We see Apple has been trending toward this for a long time. I mean, part of the conversation about the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X was, why is this processor so goddamn powerful? I don't even think the Snapdragon 845 is as powerful as that Apple processor still. This is not really a surprise, but you know, this caught my eye because I remember back in the day, you know, Intel was off doing their things. We're talking like P4 days, way before like Core 2 Duos came out. You would always, you know, Steve Jobs would take the stage and talk about the new Power PC chip. They would always defend these damn processors, even though they were clock slower and all this. And they were like, yeah, but it's a lower clock, but it's got a faster cache and it's faster than what Intel's on. And there were all these Mac versus PC snob arguments going back and forth. And Apple, I don't know what it was, but they just sort of made the jump to Intel. And I always joked at that. I always poked fun. You know, the Power PC was so good that you went to a PC processor? Huh, I don't want to hear you. But here we go again, and Apple is, of course, a behemoth, and they're looking to do their own thing. And I think rightfully so. You know, if you look at a lot of what happens in Apple's world, they like to be on their own schedule. And I feel like being on Intel's schedule means that you're at the mercy of Intel and you're on the schedule of all the other PC manufacturers. And I think that's no good for Apple. So by them coming up with their own chip and architecture and what have you, I think this is more to them becoming the juggernaut or more of a juggernaut than they already are. Plus, you know, there's that conversation of iOS apps is going to be running natively on Mac OS. Is this part of that? You know, is that going to help? I don't know. But they did say some. So I forgot who was talking about it, and they said it would be a multi-step transition. Come 2020, they won't be replacing all Intel processors. It'll just be the lower tier processors. Kind of what we see in today, if you get like a Surface Book, you get like an i3. You know, the i3 is a particularly powerful processor, but it's a super efficient processor. And because of that, it's powerful enough, first of all, right, to do all your stuff. And it's efficient enough to where it doesn't need a fan. So these devices get super thin, get this ridiculous battery life. And I don't see why Apple couldn't substitute Intel on a lower end with their own processor straight out of an iPad or an iPhone, especially if this thing be running iOS apps. So I think that's super dope. There's a lot of ramifications here that are floating around in my head. For instance, would this really push Intel to stop the madness that they're doing? Because it's no secret that Intel sort of feeds the industry bit by bit, and you know, they could be pushing the boundaries, but they don't, because they don't have to. You know, AMD is not exactly forcing anyone to do anything. So that's a conversation, you know, when Apple kicks it into gear, and sure, they'll replace the lower end stuff with their own, but what happens when Apple figures out how to replace all the Pro Series stuff, all the Intel processors in there for $5,000-$6,000 machines? What's Intel gonna do now? Are they gonna be forced to answer with the power and unleash the power they've been holding back? Maybe. What does this look like for devs? You know, devs now, arguably in today's world, devs got it easy. yes, there's differences between Windows and Mac, but they're developing on the same chip architecture. What happens now when Apple splits? Who's going with who? You know what I mean? Like, what's Adobe going to do? What's going to be easier to develop with? Is Apple going to close that ecosystem? Because Apple would love for nothing better than to just make Adobe go bankrupt. So they're happy to sell you Final Cut X and GarageBand and all this other crap that's out there. Are they going to double down on that? I don't know. There's a lot of conversations. I'm interested to see what you guys think in the comment section below. All the Mac fans, this is your chance to make your voice heard on this channel. My name is Ramon, and I'm happy to be your host. If you like the video, like the video. If you want more content, just like it, hit the subscribe button. And don't forget, we've got a Telegram group if you want to join the madness and talk all day about this stuff. Link is in the description. I'm out of here. Peace. Well, I guess. And the reason we started Lifestyles Defined is because if we weren't on camera arguing about these things, the technologies, the phones, the iPhones, the Androids, the cameras, the games, we'd be on the phone arguing about it. We'd be in each other's houses arguing about it. So why not just put it in front of a camera for everyone to enjoy it the way we do? That's what Lifestyles Defined is all about. We just love this shit.